Hello everyone, this is part 6 of What If Naruto Had the Full 9 Tails, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more, comment down below to annoy me. You will be the first to give blood to mother. Now, make me feel alive. Gaara screamed, commanding multiple tendrils of sand to shoot at Hinata. The young Hyuga, though exhausted, managed to jump over the first few tendrils. Hinata then pulled out 2 arrows and shot them, destroying 2 more sand tendrils that were closing in on her. Hinata touched the ground and barrel rolled underneath another few tendrils. The heiress then channeled her elemental chakra into her bow and blades of water formed in the arms. Using her bladed bow, Hinata began slicing apart any sand tendril that neared. She won't be able to keep this up for much longer, Kakashi stated. Anko nodded. She may be good with the explosive water shock wave jutsu, but she still doesn't have the reserves to create this much water and fight for so long. Plus that Kaiten took a lot out her too. Anko replied. She needs to pull something fast to win this. Kaiten, Hinata shouted right before she was engulfed in a dome of chakra. Hinata's technique destroyed the remaining tendrils. Hinata then knocked an arrow before tossing her bow in the air and beginning hand signs. Water style. Liquid bullet. Hinata said before spitting 3 bullets of water at Gaara. Then she caught her bow and shot her knocked arrow right at Gaara. The first bullet impacted Gaara's sand defense and soaked, while the second and third blasted away the sand. Before Gaara could react, the arrow had hit him and pierced through his chest. Gaara fell back into the water, turning his immediate area crimson. She killed Gaara. Temari whispered with her mouth hanging open. That's not possible. That blonde is the only one to have ever touched Gaara, and that's because they're both the same. No normal person could possibly kill Gaara, Kankuro stated. Our plans are ruined with Gaara dead. Baki murmured to himself as he looked at the crimson water. Holy shit. Kiba shouted. Yeah, that's right, Anko Mitarashijoun, leader of the only team to sweep through the prelims this year. Anko screamed as she jumped around dancing. Hinata smiled softly as she fell to her knees, too exhausted to stand anymore. Winner Hinata. Genma started only be cut off when a wave of sand shot out the water and slammed Hinata into the roof. As she fell through the air, the sand grabbed her and slammed her into one of the walls, causing Hinata to cry out in pain. 2 fists of sand came out the water and began hitting Hinata deeper into the wall. The sand then pulled Hinata out of the wall and threw her, causing the Hyuga to skip across the water before hitting the opposite wall. Gaara then climbed on top of the water. The redhead had the arrow still stuck on the left side of his chest and was bleeding profusely. You die now, Gaara growled. Hinata tried to stand but could only make it to a knee. No, I won't lose to you, she replied. Suddenly Hinata was in front of Gaara and slammed her palm into Gaara's chest. Gaara gasped before coughing out blood and sinking back into the water. Hinata smiled but gasped when 2 tendrils of sand wrapped around right arm and leg. Gaara climbed out of the water and with his hand half closed. Before Gaara could react, Naruto was in front of him. The blonde was now covered in the same cloak of chakra he had been in Jin. Naruto's now white pupil-less eyes stared into Gaara's green ones. All the while water, sand, and Naruto crimson tails thrashed around the two. Let her go, Naruto growled, his white eyes trying to fill Gaara's soul with burning steel. So this is your true form, Uzumaki. I'll show you mine when I finish, Gaara stated. Naruto grabbed Gaara's by the throat when the Suna Jinchuriki smirked, but it was too late. Desert funeral, Gaara shouted before closing his fist. Hinata's cry of pain pierced through the room like a sword. The sound of Gaara choking and the smell of burning flesh due to Kyuubi's chakra touching Gaara's neck followed next. Unfortunately, it was soon drowned out by the sound of the Konoha ninja rushing to Hinata's aid. The only person from Konoha who didn't go to Hinata was Hiruzen Sarutobi, who was just outside the torrent that was encasing the choking Gaara and Naruto. Naruto, release him, the aged Hokage shouted. Naruto ignored the demand and opted to squeeze Gaara's neck tighter. Gaara grabbed Naruto's wrist and tried to pull the blonde's arm off but released him instantly when his hands were burned. Gaara's struggling began to slow and his eyes began to close when a tall man with long spiky white hair appeared to the side of Naruto. The man placed a seal on Naruto's head and Kyuubi's chakra began to recede back into his body. Naruto yelled in frustration and with the last of his strength kicked Gaara in the chest. The redhead shot into the wall so fast he appeared as a blur. Laughing began to emit from the crater Gaara had made, but before anything could happen the white-haired man appeared in front of Gaara and placed the same seal on his head. The laughter stopped and the Suna ninja blacked out. When Naruto woke up the first thing he noticed was the white ceiling above his head. What? The blonde asked to nobody in general. I locked away Kyuubi's chakra after you lost control. A voice stated. Naruto turned to see the white-haired man seating next to his bed. You're in the hospital now. Aren't you Jiraiya, one of the Sannin? Naruto asked. I see my reputation precedes me. Jiraiya replied with a smirk. Yeah, whatever, what did you to me? I can't feel Kyuubi's chakra anymore. Naruto asked. I sealed it away, Sarutobi-sensei's orders. He feels you're being manipulated by the Kyuubi. Honestly, I have to agree with him. Jiraiya explained. Is that so? Well, you can tell that old geezer what I did was all my choice, just like what did in Jin. Kyuubi didn't do anything except. Wait. You're the one who raised Jin to the ground. Jiraiya asked. Yeah, why? Naruto said. Why? What made you destroy that city? Did you know that city held the best bathhouse in all of the Land of Fire? Jiraiya cried. Naruto didn't answer, preferring to look out the window. I know that look. That is the look of a man in love. Jiraiya stated with a smirk painted on his face. Naruto scowled and turned to face Jiraiya. Love is a weakness. Naruto stated. It's just a liability that's not worth the effort. You got it wrong, kid. Love is what gives us Konoha Shino. I know about Will of Fire. It's drilled into our heads throughout the academy and it's all bull. Love doesn't make one stronger. Rage made me strong enough to destroy that city. Love didn't make jump down and try and crush Gaara's windpipe. Fear did, anger did. Naruto said, cutting Jiraiya off. Love makes you blind to the obvious. It makes you hesitate to do what's necessary. Kid, someday you'll get it. When you do, you might just become the greatest shinobi since the Sage of Six Paths. Jiraiya replied. But right now we have things to do. You have to get ready for the finals. Who's fighting who? Naruto asked, dropping the subject of love like Jiraiya. The Sannin then pulled out a piece of paper and handed it to Naruto. Neji Hyuga vs Sasuke Uchiha Tenten vs Kankuro Shino Aburame vs Shikamaru Nara. Chuji Akamaiki vs Temari Naruto Uzumaki vs Gaara. Naruto smirked when he was facing Gaara. He then glanced at the rest of the names only to do a double take. Chuji won. Naruto asked. Yeah, some guy used a jutsu to wrap his body around the Akamaiki. Before the guy knew what happened, the big boy tripled in size, then turned into a ball. The kid was squished like a worm on a boulder. In fact, his jutsu was the only thing that kept him alive. Jiraiya explained. Naruto nodded, headed toward the door. Just before he opened the door, he paused and turned around. How is Hinata? Naruto asked. Kid, they did the best they could. Jiraiya replied. How is she? Naruto growled. She'll live, that's for sure, but her career as a ninja is most likely over. Jiraiya replied. What room is she in? Naruto asked. Jiraiya sighed. Room 403. The moment he finished, Naruto was engulfed in flames and gone. As much as he hides it, the kid lets his motion rule him too much. Hey, just like his mother. Naruto was in front of Hinata's room in an instant. Just as Naruto reached for the door, it opened to reveal a tall man with long black hair tied in a ponytail. He wore an elegant gray kimono with the Hyuga emblem embroidered on the left breast. The man's eyes were pale and pupil less like all Hyuga, though his eyes were a dusty gray in contrast to Hinata's soft lavender and Neji's cold silver. Uzumaki. The Hyuga stated, cold and indifferent. Hyuga-san. Naruto replied just as cold but with a hint of anger. You will address me as Hyashi-sama or Hyuga-sama. Hyashi corrected, his voice cold enough to freeze a sun. Hyuga-san, you seem like a busy man, so why do you insist on wasting my time? Naruto retorted. Hyashi glared and looked ready to strike the genin when Jiraiya appeared around the corner. Hyashi, it's been too long. Jiraiya said as he walked in between the two. Yes, it has, Jiraiya-sama. Hyashi replied, his tone still emotionless. We must catch up sometime. Jiraiya said while putting an arm around Hyashi. Hyashi shrugged the large arm before giving a curt nod and leaving. Naruto glanced at the retreating form of Hyashi before walking through the doorway. The blonde almost shivered at the sudden feeling he got in the room. It was as if all the life had been sucked from the room, leaving a cold, depressing feeling. When Naruto looked at Hinata, he immediately knew something was wrong. Her face was dull, almost gray. The young Hyuga's eyes were clouded and sunken. What happened? Naruto asked, closing the door behind him. Hinata glanced at Naruto for only a moment before resuming the same pose she had been in when he entered. The Jinchuriki growled and walked right into Hinata's line of sight. I dislike being ignored, Naruto said, glaring at Hinata. She flinched at his gaze before diverting her eyes to the bed sheets. I was. Hinata started, only to pause as tears began to flow down her face. Naruto's expression instantly softened when he saw the tears. The blonde moved to the side of her bed and sat down. It's okay. So you can't be a ninja again, it's not the end of the world, Naruto said in an attempt to console her. Hinata shook her head and began to cry uncontrollably. Before Naruto could say anything else, Hinata wrapped her working arm around his neck and started sobbing. Naruto stood shocked, still unsure of what to do. Then finally Naruto wrapped his arms around Hinata, holding her to his chest as she released all the emotions within her. The two remained in their embrace even after Hinata's crying had ceased. Eventually Hinata leaned back and looked Naruto in the eyes. I'm sorry, Hinata murmured. It's okay, Naruto replied. What's the matter? My father came to check on me. When he found out I could never be a ninja, Hinata took a breath to push back the fresh set of tear. She looked back at the bed sheets before finishing. My father disowned me because I was no longer fit to be a clan head. When Naruto didn't respond, Hinata looked up and gasped. Naruto's eyes were switching between the normal blue to a dark violet. Occasionally they would flash red and the pupils would slit. Hinata placed an hand on Naruto's arm and his eyes instantly settled back to their normal ocean blue. Please don't hurt my family, Naruto-kun, Hinata pleaded. What family? They disowned you, tossed you aside like trash. You should want their blood flooding the streets of this pathetic village. Naruto growled as his eyes shifted to purple. I should, but I don't, so don't hurt them, for me, Hinata asked as she took hold of Naruto's hand. Fine, I won't hurt your family, but I know exactly who to take my anger out on, Naruto replied. Hinata was tempted to ask, but she knew she would find out later, so she didn't press the matter. At that moment Jiraiya opened the door and walked into the room. Alright Gaki, it's time to train. For next month the great Jiraiya will be your sensei. Now say goodbye to your girlfriend and let's go, Jiraiya stated. Naruto grumbled something about annoying egotistical ninja, then turned back to Hinata. He opened his mouth to say something but stopped and turned to Jiraiya. The Toad Sage was standing in the spot, but now he had a notepad and pencil. The Sannin was currently scribbling away, taking glances at Naruto and Hinata. Naruto pondered for a moment and realized Hinata had shifted into his lap. Naruto glared at Jiraiya, and before anybody could react, a clone of Naruto was holding Jiraiya's notepad. Oi, perv, can we get some privacy? Naruto said just as the clone torched Jiraiya's notes with a basic fire jutsu. NNNNOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO eyes and the clone pulled the mentally distressed Jiraiya out the room. I'll see you in a month, Naruto said the moment the door shut. Hinata nodded as she slid back onto her bed. Good luck with your training, Naruto-kun, Hinata replied. Naruto nodded and was about to get up when he felt Hinata grab his arm. Naruto turned around only to receive a kiss from Hinata. The kiss was quick and simple, but it still left the blonde dazed and confused. I won't be seeing you in a month, Hinata murmured, a scarlet blush painted on her face. Naruto nodded dumbly before walking out the room. So how was your first kiss, champ? Jiraiya mocked. Naruto growled, but then a tiny smirk appeared on his face as he passed Jiraiya. Just fine, Naruto whispered to himself. Great actually. Neji looked to Hiashi in shock. Hiashi-sama, I don't understand. Hinata was crippled in her fight with Gaara. The damage was so extensive the only person capable of healing her now would be Tsunade of the Sannin. This has forced me to disown her for the good of the clan. Hiashi Hyuga head paused to compose himself. You regret it, don't you? Why? She was weak and useless. Why do you regret disowning her? She was an embarrassment to the clan, Neji stated. Hold your tongue, boy. Regardless of everything you stated, she is still my eldest daughter. I have never been proud of how I treated my family, even you, but looking into Hinata's face as I disowned her showed me how bad things have gotten. Hiashi said, his voice drowned in regret. When you turn of age, I will be named clan head in my place. Neji, I have failed as a clan head, but I ask you learn from my mistakes. What? Neji stammered. Yes, it has been decided by the council. While Hanabi shows impressive skill in the Juokan style, she lacks the skills of a leader. You have impressed them. Even being a branch child, you are regarded as the prodigy of the clan. Your drive to succeed is finally being rewarded. Hyashi stated. Next week the cage bird seal will be removed from your head and you will be adopted into the main branch. Neji nodded, unsure of how to respond. On reflex, Neji brought his hand to his forehead. Now to other matters. You will be studying under me for the next month in preparation for the Chunin exam finals. We start tomorrow at dawn, so meet me in the training hall after you eat. Be warned, you will be shown no mercy. This next month will be far worse than anything you've ever experienced. You are dismissed, Hyashi stated with a gesture to the door. Neji nodded before walking out of Hyashi's study. Shino, you have progressed immensely since your time in the academy. A tall Aberame stated as he and Shino stood inside a room that resembled the center of a beehive. Thank you, father, Shino replied. Your general chakra capacity has grown to a level in which you will be capable of holding 2 more hives, so for thus next month we will be working on your ability to control these new hives. Shino's father Shibi explained. Father, with the addition of these new hives I will hold 4 hives, that is the amount required to perform some of our more complex jutsu. Shino stated. True, but the nano insects have finally bred another hive. You will be receiving this hive, Shino, Shibi stated. Shino's eye widened slightly, but he recovered so fast that it was almost impossible to spot it. Using the nano hive would be an honor. Regrettably, I have to decline, father, Shino replied. To his surprise, Shibi nodded instead of show shock or disappointment. I suspected you would say that, but inform me on the reason for your choice, Shibi asked calmly. In the Chunin exams I will be fighting Konoha Shinobi until the last round if I make it that far. I wouldn't like to risk of releasing my freshly acquired nanos if I come across a situation where I'm being defeated, Shino explained. I see, well perhaps we can perform the procedure some other time, Shibi suggested. Shino nodded, and at that moment 2 Aberame men walked into the room carrying 2 large tanks of bugs. This too troublesome, Shikamaru yelled as he avoided a volley of kunai. Your taijutsu and evasiveness need work, so until your father gets back, you and I will working on that, Shikamaru's mother Yoshino replied. Before Shikamaru could respond, Yoshino was behind him. Shikamaru turned around just in time to receive a punch to the face. Come on, I'm only a Chunin, honey, Yoshino taunted. Troublesome. Why do I need the weights? Shikamaru growled. They will help you in the long run, Yoshino replied. Shikamaru threw a jab at his mother, which Yoshino gracefully countered with a knee to Shikamaru's solar plexus. The boy genius doubled over but instantly regretted it when his movement allowed him to see Yoshino's other knee come straight into his face. Shikamaru went sailing back but recovered enough to flip in the air and land on his feet. Shikamaru then ducked in time to avoid a roundhouse kick from his mother. Good, you're getting better, Yoshino replied as she jumped back to avoid the uppercut Shikamaru had sent. Now I can actually try a little. Yoshino vanished in an after image, causing Shikamaru to groan. Troublesome. Sakura was walking around the village in an attempt to find something to do. Sasuke-kun and Kakashi-sensei have disappeared and now I'm alone. I might as well see what Ino Pig is up to. With that thought in her head, Sakura walked to the Yamanaka flower shop. Sakura turned the corner that led to the flower shop just to see Sasuke exiting the store. The Uchiha Avenger had a smirk on his face, but it seemed different from the one that usually adorned his face. Instead of the usual arrogance and fully contained disgust for all other life, the smirk was one of self-satisfaction and joy. Yet before Sakura could ponder the look further, it was gone along with Sasuke as he jumped to the rooftops. Sakura was tempted to go after the lone Uchiha but decided against it. Instead, she continued into the Yamanaka shop and found Ino sitting at the counter with a dazed expression and soft smile on her face. Hey Ino Pig, what was Sasuke-kun doing here? Sakura asked as she made her way to the counter. Ino instantly snapped out her daze and turned to face Sakura. He didn't say, Ino replied. So what brings you here? Sakura gave Ino a suspicious glance but then shrugged off her worries. Nothing really, I didn't have anything to, so I came to pay you a visit. Oh, I'm sorry, but my dad wants to train me after I finish up my shift. I was about to close down until you showed up. Ino explained. Oh, it's okay, I might as well get home then. Sakura said as she turned around. Wait, you can join us if you want. He's just going to teach me a few poisons I can make today. I'm sure he wouldn't mind teaching you. Ino insisted. Nah, I really should be getting home, I don't want my parents to worry. Sakura replied. Sasuke, you will be fighting the Hyuga prodigy and rookie of the year just before you. He won't be a pushover, so I'm going to be working heavily on taijutsu. Kakashi instructed as he and Sasuke stood on a cliff edge. Why is this even necessary? With Sharingan that Hyuga won't even be able to lay a finger on me. Sasuke stated arrogantly. I heard about your little encounter with Guy's other student Lee. Did that not teach you anything? If your body isn't fast enough to react, it doesn't matter if your eyes see it. Kakashi lectured. Now it may be true Neji isn't as fast as Lee, but with Guy as his sensei, speed will be something you need to worry about. Whatever, how do you plan on increasing my speed in such a short amount of time? Your Sharingan will be a major part one need you to focus on when you fought Lee and then attempt to copy it. Kakashi stated. Sasuke nodded and activated his Sharingan. Tenten walked into the weapons shop with a smirk on her face. Tenten, is that you? A voice called from that back. Yeah, I'm here, Tauren-san. Tenten called. Good, come in the back. Tauren shouted. Tenten walked behind the counter and into the back room. Waiting for her there was a tall elderly man with red hair tied into a ponytail. The man was muscular, but his muscles were lean like a runner. I heard you made it to the final round of Chunin exams. Tauren stated. Tenten nodded. Then it's time I progress in your training. How so? Tenten barely able to contain the excitement in her voice. Tauren grabbed a kunai that was laying on a table. He placed it so that Tenten could see it, and then the kunai began to glow a faint red. The kunai began glowing brighter until the edges were white and the center was bright red. Elemental manipulation. I taught this to your father when he made it to the Chunin finals. I plan to do the same for you. Tauren explained as the kunai cooled down. Now it's time to find out what element you are. Tauren added, pulling a blank white card out his pocket. He handed it to Tenten, who instantly began channeling chakra into it. The paper glowed for a moment before igniting and turning to ash. Our fire, just like your father and I. The sign of a true shinobi of the land of fire. Tauren said. He began to walk to a door that was in the back. Tauren opened the door to reveal a backyard with a large tree standing in the center. Grab a leaf, we have much to do and in only a month. Tauren said as they walked outside. Oi, you perverted bastard, you're wasting my time. You dragged me to this fucking waterfall, you had better have a good ass reason. Naruto growled. Jiraiya looked away from three women he was peeping on and smirked at Naruto. Of course, I'm going to be teaching something that will be invaluable to you in your future battles, Jiraiya said before biting his thumb hard enough to draw blood and slamming his palm to the ground. His immediate area was engulfed in smoke. When it cleared, Jiraiya was standing on top of a toad around the size of a large bull. Behold, the summoning jutsu. Really? You want me to summon frogs? Naruto asked with a hint of irritation his voice. I'm a toad, Gaki. The large toad yelled in indignation. Whatever. Like I was saying, how are fucking frogs? Naruto replied only to gasp when he felt a blade press against his throat. I tell you one more time, Gaki. I'm a toad, make the mistake again and they won't be able to identify your body. The toad murmured into Naruto's ear. Naruto looked to see the toad beside him holding a katana to his neck. Oh. I can see where toads could be useful in battle, but they don't seem like the type of summon that would be suited toward me. Naruto replied. Alright, Gaki, I'll bite, why not? Jiraiya asked. My fighting style is suited more toward speed and stealth, while toads would seem more like power fighters. Naruto replied. Kid, if you're worried about toads not being able to stick with speed fighters, then you might as well sign the contract now. Jiraiya said as the from vanished in a puff of smoke. The fourth Hokage summoned toads and... Forget it. Naruto interrupted. Excuse me? Jiraiya questioned. I said forget it. No way in hell would I even think of following in the footsteps of that man. Naruto growled. What? The Yondaime was probably the greatest ninja ever to come out of Konoha. It would be any man's honor to follow in his footsteps. Jiraiya retorted. Yes, any man would love to be just like the person who damned him to a life as an outcast. Naruto growled. Of course we all would love to imitate the sole reason you're despised by a vast majority of a city. Kid, it's not like that. Jiraiya said, his voice instantly softer. He wanted you to be seen as a hero too. Yeah, and that worked out well, huh? Naruto retorted. His eye were beginning to flash between blue and violet. If that dumb bastard really was as great as everybody thought him to be, he would have realized this village would never see me as a hero. Naruto, you are a hero. If it weren't for you. Why me? Naruto shouted just as Kyuubi's red chakra burst out of him and began to swirl around wildly. Naruto, calm down. Jiraiya stated as he held his ground against wild chakra. Why was I chosen? Naruto shouted. Years of repressed emotions that he had blocked out had finally made to the surface. I was forced to carry this burden. I never asked for this. Red chakra tails shot out of Naruto's back and began thrashing around him. Naruto, he knew that you could handle it. Jiraiya replied. How could he know that? What made me any more special than any other baby in the village? Naruto roared. I guess it's time. The Yondaime knew his son could handle such a burden. Jiraiya answered calmly. Naruto froze and Kyuubi's chakra instantly seeped back into his body. What? Naruto stammered. Naruto, you wanted to know what made you so special. It's because you were the son of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. Jiraiya, as he slowly reached into his pouch and pulled out another chakra repressing seal. To his surprise, Naruto didn't explode like he had expected. Naruto started laughing. At first it was slow and soft, but eventually it became a full-out laughter. My fucking god. Naruto said, looking at the ground. I can't believe it. This is rich. Of course the Yondaime would be my dad. My resentment toward him truly blinded me. I mean, for the love of Kami, if you add the whiskers to his face in our history book, we look almost exactly the same. It was for the best. Jiraiya replied. How so? I mean, run that by me. Naruto asked. If a Wagaku had found out you were the son of Minato, then assassins would have been coming at you left and right. Jiraiya replied. Better to have inside forces trying to kill me than the outside ones, right? Naruto retorted. Naruto. Don't Naruto me. Before the chakra tails started protecting me, I was attacked every time I left the house without Yamato. Naruto retorted. Honestly, Sarutobi should have announced that I was the son of the fourth when he made my status as a Jinchuriki public. He wasn't sure how you would take it. Jiraiya responded. Whatever. Naruto mumbled. Alright then, now back to the matter at hand. Are you going to sign the Toad contract? Jiraiya asked. I guess. Naruto replied after a moment of pause. Jiraiya nodded, performed some hand signs and slamming his bloody hand on the ground. Smoke instantly covered the area, and when it cleared, a large orange toad with navy blue splotches over its body appeared. The toad was around the same height as Naruto and had a large scroll in its hand. Gama, I need the scroll. Jiraiya stated. Gama nodded and used his tongue to hand Jiraiya the scroll. This, Gaki, is the Toad summoning contract. Jiraiya opened the scroll till he reached an open slot. Just sign in blood, then place a handprint underneath. Right next to dear old dad. Naruto murmured sarcastically as he did as Jiraiya instructed. When will you forgive him? Jiraiya asked. Never, I will never forgive him. When will I stop hating him? Well, I'm not sure. Naruto replied. Jiraiya just sighed. Alright, the hand signs are boar, dog, monkey, and finally ram. Channel as much chakra as you can into the jutsu. Jiraiya instructed. Naruto nodded and his eyes glowed red right before he slammed his hand down onto the ground. An enormous cloud of smoke covered the cliff edge Jiraiya and Naruto had been standing on. When it cleared, Naruto and Jiraiya were standing on the head of an enormous rusty red toad with bright red markings on its lips, chest, and around his eyes. The toad had a pipe in its mouth and a tanto on his hip. The toad wore a blue vest with the kanji of toad on it. Jiraiya, why have you summoned me? The toad asked before taking a hit from his pipe. Actually, Bunta, I didn't summon you, Gaki here did. Jiraiya said, slapping Naruto on the back only for it to be blocked by a tail of chakra. Ha 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 ha. Like some wet behind the ears Genin could summon me. Ha ha ha, that's rich. Gamabunta replied. Is that so? Naruto asked. I could send you back to where you came without using the Kyuubi's chakra. Boy, are you insane. Nobody besides the Yondaime could pull off that task, and you're not even a Chunin. Gamabunta retorted. Naruto jumped off the toad's head and got his trench knives out of their seal. Then you have nothing to worry about. Naruto challenged. Is that so? Naruto asked. I could send you back to where you came without using the Kyuubi's chakra. Boy, are you insane. Nobody besides the Yondaime could pull off that task, and you're not even a Chunin. Gamabunta retorted. Naruto jumped off the toad's head and got his trench knives out of their seal. Then you have nothing to worry about. Naruto challenged. Naruto wove through hand signs before shouting, Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Naruto spit a large ball of fire out at Gamabunta and then started though more hand signs. Wind style, great breakthrough. Naruto pushed his hands forward and a tremendous gust of wind shot out them. When the blast of wind made contact with the fireball, the wind fed the fire, making the ball grow to the point it was almost half the size of Gamabunta. The Toad boss was so stunned by the display he barely had time to put his hands up to block. Smoke engulfed the large toad's face. When it cleared, it showed an irate Gamabunta glaring daggers at Naruto. Yet the expression soon changed to that of amusement. Alright Gaki, you want to play with the big boy, so I'll humor you. Just don't blame me when you get hurt. Gamabunta replied. Naruto scowled and began more hand signs. Wind style, drilling air bullet. Naruto shouted before spitting a large ball at condensed wind chakra at Gamabunta. This time the large toad was prepared and retaliated with a jutsu of his own. Water style, liquid bullet. Gamabunta said before spitting out a bullet of water that dwarfed Naruto's. The water bullet plowed through Naruto's air bullet, continued onto its main target. Just moments before it made contact with Naruto, the water was split in half. Naruto looked up at Gamabunta just before disappearing. The blonde appeared right in front of Gamabunta's face, poised to deliver a haymaker. This was cut short when the large toad swatted Naruto away like a fly. Gamabunta wasn't finished there, as he used his tongue to catch Naruto before he hit the ground. This turned out to be more of a curse than a blessing when the toad swung the boy around and slammed him into the ground harder enough to create a crater the size of a large house. Gamabunta that could have killed him. Jiraiya stated, yet the tone in his voice showed he really wasn't worried. You and I both know that attack wouldn't kill him. The boy has gotten arrogant. This little beating just might have put some humility in him. Gamabunta retorted. The moment he said, the Naruto appeared above his uninjured eye. The blonde channeled a vast amount of his chakra into his trench knives and swiped down at Gamabunta. The attack sliced down Gamabunta's face, framing Gamabunta's eye with two large vertical gashes. Ah! The boss toad yelled as he stumbled backwards and covered his eye. Don't underestimate me. Naruto growled. Gamabunta removed his hand, showing the deep lacerations were pouring blood. Alright Runt, you want me to get serious, you got it. The boss toad yelled. Gamabunta pulled out his tanto and in a blink brought it down on Naruto. Naruto jumped to the side, just barely avoiding the blade strike. Yet he wasn't fast enough to avoid Gamabunta's fist. The large toad's strike created a large crater he ground and dust engulfed the area. Naruto shot of the dust and ran up Gamabunta's tanto. The moment Naruto reached the hilt of Gamabunta's blade, he started a series of hand signs. Wind style, twister shot. Naruto said before spitting a large twister out of his mouth. Gamabunta raised his arm to block but let out a grunt of pain when the twister began slicing into his arm. Wind style, wind cutter. Naruto pushed his hand forward and a long blade of wind shot out and cut deeper into Gamabunta's arm. Gamabunta growled but smirked as he sensed another Naruto above him. Fool me once. Gamabunta murmured as he spun around and slapped Naruto out of the air. The strike knocked his blonde Jinchuriki out cold and his limp body tore through half an acre of trees before coming to a stop. Now that really could have killed him. Jiraiya said as he jumped off Gamabunta and went to collect his student. HMPH, that stupid Gaki. He cut my eye worse than his father. Gamabunta grumbled before disappearing in a giant cloud of smoke. Next day Naruto woke to rays of sunlight. The blonde attempted to sit up but instantly regretted it. His entire body felt like it had been shattered. Everything hurts, right? Jiraiya said as he sat down in front of Naruto. It should. That last hit shattered every bone in your body. If it weren't for the Kyuubi, you'd be in a hospital right now and wouldn't be getting out anytime soon. Naruto grunted and with a bit of effort stood up. Jiraiya just shook his head and watched as the blonde shakily made his way to his feet. Alright kid, your little fight with Bunta put you out for 3 days. Because we're short on time, I will be pushing you. Jiraiya stated as he pulled out a few scrolls from his pocket. He tossed the scrolls at Naruto, who caught then flinched in pain from the sudden action. In those 3 scrolls are a basic Fuinjutsu scrolls. By the end of this month I want them all completed. Jiraiya ordered. Naruto nodded and placed his hand into a cross seal. Smoke covered the area, and when it cleared, Naruto's were covering the entire cliff edge. I see. Well, this changes everything. Have you clones work on the scrolls? You come with me. Jiraiya said as he jumped down to the base of the waterfall. Naruto rolled his eyes as he followed after. As Naruto landed, Jiraiya turned to him. How you feeling, Gaki? Fine now, just a little stiff. Naruto replied. Good cause. Right now we're gonna spar. I need to see what you have to work on, so don't use Kyuubi's chakra. Jiraiya explained. Naruto nodded, then appeared in front of Jiraiya with his fist cocked back. The Sannin didn't even blink as he caught the fist in his hand. Naruto lashed out with his other fist, only for Jiraiya to catch that as well. Naruto jumped up and attempted to drop-kick Jiraiya in the face, but the older ninja simply tilted his head to avoid the attack. Now what will you do? Jiraiya asked. Naruto's hand were in his fist while the blonde's feet on his shoulder. This boom, Naruto said just before blowing up. The water launched into air, and when it settled again, Naruto was standing across from Jiraiya. The two had their arms crossed and were sizing each other up. Jiraiya had a grin on his face while Naruto's was once again blank and devoid of emotion. Impressive, you can perform the exploding shadow clone jutsu. Jiraiya praised. But happened, your entire demeanor just changed. You need an accurate measurement on my skills, so now I'm going to get serious. Naruto replied. Alright then, come at me with everything you got. Jiraiya replied. Naruto nodded before weaving through hand signs. Wind style, great breakthrough. Naruto said just before thrust his hands forward. A large blast of wind made its way to Jiraiya, who was performing hand signs of his own. When he finished, he spit out a glob of mud that formed a wall in front of him. The wall instantly hardened and blocked the wind attack. Jiraiya then ducked under a roundhouse kick from Naruto. The Sannin then turned around and jabbed at Naruto. The blonde blocked and his eyes widened for a fraction of a second before he jumped back. Naruto pressed a seal on his body and 6 kunai appeared. The Jinchuriki grabbed 3 in each hand before channeling wind chakra into them. Naruto launched them at Jiraiya, and the knives tore through the Sannin's body only for him to dissolve into the water in a mass of mud. Before Naruto could react, a hand came out of the water and grabbed his ankle. Naruto looked down and saw Jiraiya under the water. The on reflex, Naruto leaned to the side. The blonde watched in interest as a small blue orb of chakra passed right by his side. Naruto went through another set of hand signs. Wind style, pressures damage. Naruto said before he was engulfed in a tornado-like mass. Jiraiya just barely managed to jump out of the way of the attack. The mass of wind began to compress itself onto Naruto until it was a glowing dome. Then the dome was released and Jiraiya along with the water was blasted away. Jiraiya stood and saw Naruto on the water standing with his arms crossed. Now that was an impressive jutsu. Where did you learn it? Jiraiya asked. Forbidden Scroll of Sealing. Naruto replied. Jiraiya nodded. Well, I think I have an accurate assessment of your skills. Jiraiya said as he gestured for Naruto to join him on the shore. Naruto nodded and walked over to the Sannin. Your jutsu arsenal is impressive, but you are too heavily based on wind jutsu. Your speed with hand signs needs some work. Your taijutsu, while vastly better than anybody your age, is slightly predictable. Jiraiya replied. Normal circumstances and you would be fine, but you don't have normal circumstances. Yeah, as the most powerful tool of the village I must be better than all others. Naruto replied. No, that's not the reason. Sooner than I would like, you will be targeted by very powerful people. Jiraiya replied. I didn't take you as a student to train you for the final part of the Chunin exams. Any idiot could tell you were better than any mere Chunin. I'm getting you ready for the bigger fish you have to handle. Alright, well, before we continue, can I at least know who's after me? Naruto asked. I don't know much, but I can tell you that it's an organization of S-rank criminals. The only goal I know they have is to collect the Biju. They call themselves the Akatsuki. Jiraiya replied. So let's get training. 2 weeks later, well, Gaki, I think it's safe to say without using Kyuubi's chakra you could beat that Gaara kid around Konoha and back. Jiraiya said. So we're done. Naruto replied. Yeah, I can't teach you anything else until after the exams. Jiraiya replied. Naruto nodded and was engulfed in a column of fire before he was gone. Ah, to be young and in love, Jiraiya said as he left the waterfall in a leaf shunshin. Naruto reappeared right in front of the hospital. The blonde walked in and up to the main desk. He was about to ask for Hinata's room when the woman there glared attempted and to scare him with some killer intent. Pathetic, now tell me what room I can find Hinata Hyuga before I show you real killer intent. Naruto growled, his eyes flash red for a second. The woman gulped and pulled out a clipboard. She's been moved from 403 to 110. It's down the hall and to the right. The woman whimpered. Thank you, Naruto replied before following the woman's instructions. The blonde was about to open the door when he hesitated. Why can't I do this? Naruto murmured. Telling a girl how you feel is never easy. A person replied from behind Naruto. The blonde looked to see Yamato standing there with his left arm in a sling. When did you get back? And what happened? Naruto asked. I got back yesterday and I was on the wrong end of a lightning jutsu. I should be good in a week. Yamato answered. Wait, how did you know that was what I was here to do? Naruto asked. I know everything, Ototo. Yamato replied with a smirk. Naruto rolled his eyes and looked back to the door. He reached for the handle but try as he might he couldn't bring himself to open the door. Naruto, I don't think Hinata could ever reject you. She feels the same way about you. Naruto nodded and, with a bit of strain, got himself to open the door. When he looked inside, Naruto found that Hinata was not alone. Sitting at her side was Kurenai. The red-eyed woman glanced at Naruto and instantly got up. Naruto tensed when Kurenai stopped next to him. Treat her good or you'll spend the rest of your days under the belief you're a 6-year-old girl. Kurenai whispered. Kurenai, could you do that? Yamato murmured. I'll have Yugao braid his hair. Kurenai retorted before walking out of the room. After a brief pause, Yamato closed the door behind Naruto. Naruto-kun, how did your training go? Hinata asked. Naruto took a seat at her bedside before he responded. It was fine. I apologize for not visiting, but Jiraiya had me at the waterfall since I last saw you. Naruto replied. I understand. Hinata murmured. Hinata, there is something I want to ask you. Naruto replied. Go ahead. Hinata stated. Do you remember when we were in Jin and you said you loved me? Naruto asked. A light blush found its way onto Hinata's face and she turned away, but she still managed to nod. Did you mean it? Hinata pushed the blush down and looked him in the eyes. Yes, I have felt that way since we were kids. Hinata replied. I love you and always will. Naruto looked at Hinata trying to find some way to respond but found he couldn't. Idiot, you're starting to really irritate me. QB deep voice growled in Naruto's head. Naruto ignored the demon and took a calming breath. Hinata, I have never felt the same way about anybody before and I know I don't want to be without you. Naruto replied. Hinata's breath caught in her throat as she listened to Naruto. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I think I love you too. Hinata stared at Naruto before she hugged the blonde. Naruto was caught off guard by the action but returned it nonetheless. Hinata pulled back and the two looked in each other's eye for what seemed like eternity. Then their face drew together. Hinata could feel Naruto's warm breath on her face and on reflex closed her eyes and tilted her head slightly. The blonde in turn closed his eyes as well and was about to close the distance when a wave of killer intent washed over the room. Hinata's eyes snapped open and the two turned to see Gaara stand in the doorway, sand pooling at his feet. It seems mother will taste the blood of two today. Gaara stated as the sand moved toward Naruto and Hinata. Naruto's eyes turned crimson red as his pupils morphed into slits as he glared at Gaara. I suggest you leave before I kill you right now. Naruto growled as all 9 red chakra tails slowly seeped out of his body. In fact, in not feeling merciful today, sir, I am going to kill you right now. Naruto appeared in front of Gaara and looked the redhead eye to eye. That was when the blonde noticed that Gaara's eyes were no longer their normal green, instead they were yellow and his pupil had tuned into a black 4-pointed star with 4 black dots around it. Naruto, you and this guy can wait till tomorrow. A voice stated. Both Jinchuriki looked to see Jiraiya standing with his arms crossed. Gaara looked back at Naruto before leaving. Tomorrow you shall die and my existence will be definite. Gaara said as he walked out the door. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.